Hey, Warrior Saints, happy Wednesday. Welcome. Glad to have you beautiful people in with us today. We are talking about how to live your best life now. And as we set the tone on Monday, what we said is living your best life now isn't selfish, focused, following the secular narrative where I got to, get mine and you do you. But instead, to be your best, to come out of the swamps of mediocrity, we have to live a crucifixional life, emulating Christ himself. To put those two against one another, to explore them today, we're going to talk about how we live our best life now through suffering and struggle, right? And as I say those words to you, you might be scratching your head and saying, well, wait a minute, aren't we supposed to, if we're living our best life now, isn't it supposed to be comfortable and easy? Aren't we just supposed to enjoy everything as if we live somehow in a perpetual state of retirement where we just flit about and do everything we want to do? And as we asked that question, I thought about it. I'm like, really? Is that the case? Is that what it means? Is that what it means to live your best life now? And as we were prepping and talking through this, Greg said, I think that's what the world is trying to tell us, that just you do you and be easy, be comfortable. But in truth, that really is the height or the essence of mediocrity. To be great, to be truly great, and living the best way that you can, for you to become the best man and the best woman that you can be, you have to face the hard things. And you have to struggle a little bit. And you might even have to suffer through those struggles a little bit. The strugglings. Kind of like the hobbits, the younglings, there's the strugglings. At any rate, as we struggle through those things, we are finding ourselves emulating Christ, being crucifixional. Great verse. I'm going to throw this up for you. Greg's going to throw it up for you in a second. It comes to us from Hebrews chapter 2. And in Hebrews, it's talking about Christ and his suffering and how his suffering and his struggle, meaning the cross, conquers the greatest of all the monsters, death. Hear this from chapter 2. For it was fitting that he, for whom and by whom all things exist, in bringing many sons to glory, listen to these words, in bringing many sons to glory, should make the pioneer of their salvation perfect through suffering. Bringing sons to glory, the pioneer of this salvation finds perfection in suffering. Now, this is a funny word in Greek, perfection, or it's a funny translation of the Greek word telos, which means the completeness, the fullness. It's finished, right? Like when Jesus is on the cross in the Gospel of John and he says, it is finished, and he bows his head. It doesn't mean that it's finished, it's over. It means it's made perfect, right? That's the same word that is used here in Hebrew. It's complete. Like Jesus did all the business and won on the cross. Like it's perfect. It's finished, right? It's complete, right? That's what this word is here in Hebrews, is that made perfect in suffering. And again, it's a head scratcher because you're thinking like, aren't we supposed to avoid suffering? And I guess I would say no, right? Warrior Saints don't avoid suffering. We embrace that suffering because in that, and as you grind through all of the hardships and the challenges that we face in life, we find ourselves becoming exceptional human beings. We find ourselves becoming great. I mean, that's the whole point. All of a sudden, you're at your best. I'm going to tell you an image for sports fans out there. They will get this. So there was a great professional football player named Jerry Rice. So he played for the San Francisco 49ers, and then he retired from them and played for the Raiders. He didn't retire. He was traded to the Raiders. And this was when they were still in Oakland, right? And Jerry Rice was like all the records, smashed all the records. I mean, he still, even to this day, holds many records for wide receivers. For those who know him, you know how much of a stud he was. And he had this reputation for working really hard. To be the best that he was, to be the best that there ever was, he worked really hard, and he struggled and he suffered, and he would be like the first to come to practice and the last to leave. And somebody asked him once, it's a great saying, listen to this, they asked him, they said, why do you work so hard? I mean, like, you're the man. Why do you keep working so hard? And he said the following, which I love. He said, I am willing to do today what others won't, so that I am able to do tomorrow things that others can't. Listen to it again. I'm going to grind today. Other people aren't willing to do the hard work and suffer today. I'm willing to do that so that tomorrow, when they can't, I can. Get it? Like, it's through his hard work, through his suffering, through his struggling, that he lived his best life as an NFL receiver. And to show he's got all the records. Does that make sense? It's because he was willing to be brave and embrace the struggles and the sufferings. In some real sense, I know it's a silly, maybe cheesy correlation, but emulating Christ, as Christ embraced suffering and death on the cross, far greater than wide receivers, I got it. But as he did that, Jerry Rice models that in his own life by suffering through extra practices and extra hours and lifting more weights. And people want to go home, he's staying to grind more, and he becomes great. And he conquers. I mean, like the mountaintop, baby. The message is for you and I. Do you want to live your best life now? I implore you, don't get lost in the narrative of the secular world, which telling us, take it easy, you do you. Instead, embrace the way of the cross. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it ain't always fun. Yeah, there's some suffering and some challenges that go with it. But in that, you find yourself on your way to the pinnacle of who you can be. We want to help you do that. That's why we keep pushing. It's time. Join us at the Way of the Warrior Saint. At that website, you can get our flagship program, which is by the same name, The Way of the Warrior Saint. You can also get a copy of our text, our book. Love you, beautiful people. We're going to be back tomorrow to learn another tool on how to find ourselves living our best life now. Until then, love you. And as always, keep walking on the way of the Warrior Saint.